19 rapid fire Instagram Reels tips to 10x your views immediately. I am not clickbaity with this title. If you follow what I'm about to teach you, you will certainly be seeing results right away. From now on, I don't want a single one of you watching this video to get less than 1,000 views on any reel you ever post, regardless of how many followers you have. And it really comes down to the topics that we're going to be talking about today. Now, some of these things are tips you may have heard from other channels, but some of them are going to be very unique information that you will likely never hear on other channels. So just in case you never see my videos again, be sure to subscribe. I'm only at 3,000 subscribers right now, but don't let that fool you. This will be at 100K subscribers in no time, so be sure to be early to this. If I hit 10,000 subscribers by 2024, I'm also doing a giveaway where a random subscriber will win my 12-week Done With You Instagram ads coaching program, and I will pay for your business's ads. So be sure you're subscribed because I think we can do it. We're a little bit off pace, but I'm going to be cranking out videos for the rest of the year and doing as absolute best as I can. So would love to have you in my subscriber army. Let's get started. So before I list out all 19 tips, the things that you need to know about the Instagram algorithm are this. First off is that the main thing it's looking for is average watch time. More so than likes and comments, it's looking for average percentage watch time. So if you got an 8-second video and people watch 8 seconds of it, that actually registers better than if you had a 20-second video and people average watch 8 seconds of it. So it's percentage watch time. The second thing are shares. So when people share it with their friends, that is a very high engagement metric. And then the third thing are profile visits and follows that you get from a reel. This is what really tells Instagram that the content is great. So all the tips today are going to be based around increasing those three metrics. The order that I'll be talking about the tips today will be in the order that you'll be using them throughout the Reels creation process. So that's why the first one is to choose an engaging background before you film. You can just choose a cool background outside in nature. This is a great idea to just go outside and film something so that people can be looking at the background while you talk. If you imagine someone speaking with just like a blank white wall behind them, this is not nearly as engaging as even just my YouTube setup here where there's a plant, where there's some, wall art, and there's like a couch. There's just a little bit more for people to look at. And this really improves average watch time. Another thing is that if you have a cat or a dog, it's not the worst thing if they're walking around in the background, or if you're out in public and filming with other people doing things. This can be really engaging. There's a lot of TikTokers who film their dance videos in public places because it makes it so people can watch the person dance or they can watch everyone's reaction to them. So just having these elements that are in the background that people can spend a little bit of extra time on just really improves average watch time. So make sure you have a cool background before you film. And from a tactical perspective, the algorithm loves plants and it also loves clear blue skies. So not the worst idea to go outside somewhere beautiful in nature. The second tip is to not film unless you have great lighting. I don't think any video has ever gone viral without great lighting because if they can't really see your true facial expressions, it just makes it not very engaging. Now, you can do outdoor filming. Natural lighting is oftentimes the best lighting that you can do. Just make sure that you're not looking directly at the sun, like the sun shouldn't be right behind the camera because that will make you squint. And eyes are the window to the soul, and if they can't see the whites of your eyes in the video, then this is actually not very helpful. You want to make sure that they can actually look you in the eyes when they are watching the content. If you are filming indoors, the disadvantage with the ring lights is that you'll have this sparkle in your eye, so just make sure it's not too bright and back off from the ring lights as much as you can, but this is still way better than having shadows on your face. And as far as using the different temperatures of lighting, most ring lights and just lights in general will have either the yellow lighting mode, the white lighting mode, or the combination. If you have fluorescent light bulbs in your house, like I do behind me, you're gonna want to use the yellow and white setting. But if it's daytime and you have daylight coming in through the windows, that's when you just want to use the white light setting. So just make sure that you've matched the tone of the lights to the lights around you. And then it's great to note that your car usually has some great lighting, so it's not a bad film place to film in your car. The third tip is to use a trending audio. And the reason why I'm speaking about audios at the beginning is because if you're struggling with finding ideas for content, picking the audio first is often a great way to go about it. If it's a lip sync, then obviously you already know what you're going to be doing in that video, but just picking the audio first is a great way to go about it. If you're going to be doing a teaching topic and you're looking for some light background music to go behind you, I'm going to put on the screen here some of the best background music artists that I found to work with. And if you are listening to the audio only version of this podcast, I will put them in the description. But you want to make sure that it's not just a trending audio, but that it also matches the mood of the content. You don't want to just put like a Cardi B song on you talking about something just because it's trending. So make sure that it fits both requirements. It's a trending audio, and the way that you look for that is when you go into selecting the audios and reels, there is now just a trending audio section, but you can also just scroll through your feed, and at the bottom left, you'll see if there's an arrow pointing in the upward direction that denotes whether it's a trending audio or not. The fourth tip is to use a 3-second hook. The reason why I say 3 seconds is because if it takes you longer than 3 seconds to say your hook, it's probably a little bit too long and you're going to want to make it more concise. It's no new information to anyone that the hook of the reel is extremely important. The problem is, no matter how many times people hear this, they rarely make an intentionally planned hook. They usually just start talking about something. And if you are just talking about something randomly and those first 3 seconds don't draw people in to the highest degree, this would be why you are getting less than 1,000 views on your reels. If you ever get less than 1,000 views on a reel, look no further than the hook wasn't good enough. Because if people don't typically make it past those 3 seconds, that's what's really going to kill your average watch time. And like I said, that is one of the most important components to trending in the algorithm. So intentionally plan this hook. Now, the cool thing is if you look online for just some general reels, templates for hooks, you're going to find a ton of great information. ChatGPT is also really good for giving you ideas for hooks, which I don't use ChatGPT for a ton anymore, but this is one thing that if you ask it for some good hook ideas for whatever kind of message you are looking to convey in your post, it will actually give you some really great hook formats. And just make sure that you never start filming unless you have it exactly planned out what you are going to say, because if you can't get a high retention past that 3-second mark, then it doesn't matter how good the information is you share, it's just not going to do well. The fifth tip is to make your hook appeal to a wider demographic. So this is one of the first tips that you probably haven't heard from other channels. So for an example, if I wanted to do a sales tip for how to upsell more, if I just come out and say, here's a tip to get more upsells on your appointments, or here's how to improve your upsell percentage, that would appeal only to salesmen. But the problem with Instagram's algorithm, it's got a high probability of finding people who want nothing to do with your market. And in those cases, if those people instantly skip, then they really kill the post. So you want to try to convey your message in a way that the average person who wants nothing to do with your business and your market generally still will probably watch it. So instead of saying, here's how to upsell your customers, I would say, here's how McDonald's became the wealthiest of all the fast food companies. Or here's the genius marketing tactic behind what made McDonald's the #1 fast food company, right? But make it concise, right? To fit within the 3-second frame. But now, even someone who has nothing to do with entrepreneurship and sales would still stick around to hear what I talk about. If you're doing finance tips, rather than saying, here's some tips to improve your finances, or here's why I believe the Roth IRA is a better investment than a 401k, that will only appeal to people in that market at that time. But if you would say, here's Warren Buffett's secret to wealth, then pretty much everyone is going to at least stick around for a bit longer. So once you have your hook planned, make sure that even someone who is outside of your market, if they heard it, would have a good chance to stay. And this is going to be a game changer for you to get more over that 10,000 view mark. It's going to come down to this, whether you can appeal to a wider demographic or not. The sixth tip is to have a great facial expression when you kick off your reel. So if I'm about to explain Warren Buffett's secret to wealth, but my face is like, hey, here's Warren Buffett's secret to wealth, then it doesn't really match up. You want to make sure that if you are giving some new information that you're really excited about, that it actually shows on your face. And a lot of times if you record your intro like 8 different times before you pick one that you really like, then that's when people will kind of get neutral with their facial expressions over time. You might see this when you do more and more takes, that you get more neutral, so just be sure to watch out for that. If you're sad, then make sure it's always conveyed in your facial expression. The mood of the reel needs to be conveyed in that initial expression on your face. And this is going to be a hook in itself that really helps you improve that average watch time. The 7th tip is to use the Gen Z shake. So this is when, rather than just pressing film on your video and then just start talking, you press film and then you set your phone down and then you start talking. And you'll probably notice that a lot of people do this, especially on TikTok, now that I've mentioned it to you. But what it does is it just creates some motion at the beginning of filming your reel, and it makes it seem like it's more natural and off the cuff. So people are more likely to listen to it when it just looks like really organic content that's not like professionally scripted and everything. So if you press film and then you set your camera down and then start talking, this just gives it that natural look that people really like, and it does a lot better. And you can apply the same concept. It doesn't have to be necessarily, what's been coined as the Gen Z shake, but you can even just pull the phone away from you or pull the phone towards you, or pull the phone towards you and do a hand motion at the camera, just some kind of motion in the first second of your reel, rather than just staring right at the camera and then pressing record. Having some kind of motion is going to be another thing that creates a natural hook, because there's just something going on. So try that out. The 8th tip is to do something as you are filming. So a lot of people will maybe be cooking while they are giving their tips. They are doing their makeup. They're getting ready for the day. Whatever it is, if you are just doing something while you explain your tip, this just gives something else for people to watch. One of the creators that I watch on YouTube that does super well, he just is always slicing a bagel. He talks about something totally unrelated to food and to bagels, but he's just always putting a bagel in a bagel slicer and slicing it and then just giving his tips. And this just makes it so you have something to watch just in case you're not really ready to just fully listen to this guy and nothing else. People have very low attention span, especially with this vertical form content. So just like with all the other tips I gave about your background having something going on in it, you want to have elements to your post that people can watch apart from just you talking. So try it out, cook, or slice a bagel, do your makeup, whatever it is. You can talk about whatever, but just be doing something, and this will really improve your watch time. The 9th tip is very important. Before you film, you need to have an intentionally planned ending on your video. So if your video is humor-based, the funniest point of the video should be the last second. If you are filming someone doing a skateboard trick, them landing it should basically be the last second. The reason for this is because you want average percentage watch time to be very high. And if the climax of the video is at the middle point, then you're going to have people skipping off once they've watched half of it, and this will really kill your average watch time. So the last second is also when people decide to engage on the post or not. So you want to create that wow effect right when it ends. That laugh, it happens right when it ends, and then it's all of a sudden the reel has started over again. That is when they choose to like or comment. So you want to really have that climax happen at the very ending. Now, if you're doing a teaching topic, a way that you can do this is you can actually ask people to either follow you or to read for more details in the caption. If they read the caption on Instagram, they will still be watching the video in the background, so this will really help your views. Or if you say, be sure to follow me for more tips like this will improve your profile visits as well as your follows, which, as I mentioned before, is an engagement metric that really helps your reels out. So either have it just end on a climax or just have it end cleanly and concisely and use a call to action, and this is going to massively improve the reel's performance. Tip number 10 is to pick a trending effect. Now, this is not easy to use on every reel that you do, but a lot of people don't know that using a trending effect can also help you get a lot more views. So you'll go to effects and then you'll scroll over to the trending tab and just check them out. One of them that is very easy to use is the green screen effect, and this is actually a great way to have an engaging background. So if you are commenting on a news article, you can do a screenshot of that news article, use the green screen effect, and then you'll be talking over it. So now they can listen to you or they can start reading the article. There's just maybe a video even playing behind you. Creating extra elements for people to watch is a great idea, but using these effects can give you a boost to your views as well. The 11th tip is one that I got from my buddy Austin Armstrong over at Social T Pro, and what he does is intentionally mess something up in your reel. So for example, the word GIF, G-I-F, the motion graphic that everyone knows about, he always pronounces it GIF in his videos. And what happens is he gets a swarm of commenters saying, hey, it's GIF, it's not GIF, it's G-I-F is how you pronounce it. Or he will have a very weird hairstyle, he will wear a crazy shirt, he will do something in it that is naturally trying to spark comments. And or maybe he'll even just misspell something. And the reason why is people love to correct other people. And he's found that this is a comment hack because it just gets so many people to have the need to just correct him on whatever's going on. So try this out. I don't do it every single time, but if you can intentionally mess something up in your reel, then it just gives something for people to comment on, and that's obviously great. Now we're getting to the point of actually posting your reels. So that's why tip number 12 is to also have a text hook that matches up with your verbal hook in the first 3 seconds. So a lot of people watch reels on mute. And for that reason, you need to make sure that whatever you use as your verbal hook at the beginning, that this matches up in text. Or maybe you don't even talk in your video. If you are scrolling across the ocean and at second 5, a whale jumps out of the water and it's insane, but you don't say something in those first 3 seconds, you're gonna have plenty of people who think it's just a video of the ocean and there's nothing to come. So you could use something basic like wait for it ... or I can't believe this whale just appeared out of nowhere. If you just explain what's about to happen for the people who watch it without audio on, then just make sure you have a text hook that explains what's about to happen as well. The other reason why is because the Instagram algorithm will use the words that you put into it with the actual text input and help it get out to the right people. So make sure if you're doing like a bunch of marketing tips that you use the word marketing sometimes, or entrepreneur, business, or if you are in the industry where you are selling handbags, try to use the word handbag. I have a client that does that right now, so that's why that came up. But just whatever you are doing, use some of the major keywords in your market in the text, and that will also help improve your performance. The 13th tip is to use captions whenever you are doing a video when you are talking. So you can use the captions effect in the Instagram app. I'm not really a fan of how any of the captions look though comparatively to using an actual captions app. If you know Alex Hormozi, to get that style, you can actually use an app called Captions Pro. It does cost $10 a month or $55 a year, but it's totally worth it. It has the emphasis of whatever word you're on go behind it. So we'll have like a green or whatever color background you want appear behind whatever word you're on. It just makes it a lot easier to follow. You can also do AI images to go along with what you're talking about. AI emojis. You can censor out curse words with it, which is actually a good thing to do because when you say cuss words, it actually does diminish the reach of your post. And you can also get rid of the background noise using the Captions Pro app. So if you do a lot of educational content, I'd highly recommend getting the Captions Pro app. And I've got that linked in the description. I believe it will be an affiliate link. I gotta make sure. But yeah, so that supports the show. But go through that affiliate link and check out Captions Pro. That's what I use to do my captions. It looks way better than the Instagram app. Tip number 14 regarding hashtags, you want to use 7 to 15 hashtags on your reels and make sure that they're in the caption, not in the comments. You might see some really big accounts that get away with using 0 or less than 5 hashtags. If you are less than, I'll say 200K followers, you're gonna want to use 7 to 15 hashtags still, so be sure to put those in. Tip number 15 is to choose 2 to 3 topics before you post. You should use 3 if you can find 3 that all directly relate to what you're talking about. Otherwise, just choose 1 or maybe 2 if that's all that are exactly what you are talking about. So you don't want to confuse the algorithm of what your post is about. So don't choose 3 just to choose 3 if you're kind of getting outside of the content's topic. So just make sure you want to choose 3 if you can. Otherwise, 1 or 2 as long as it's an exact match for what you're talking about. Tip number 16 is to choose an engaging cover. And if you want views on the Explore page, which is really how you get your content out to an audience of people outside of your following, it comes down to whether or not they even click it in the first place. So this is very important. Now, you can use a photo for this cover. You can click on the cover part on Instagram and then click add from camera roll at the bottom. If you are an influencer trying to keep your page aesthetic a certain way, then this could be a good idea. Or if there really is no frame in the video that you feel like would be as good of a thumbnail as something that you could make, then it's a great idea to do this. Now, me personally, my hook at the beginning, which is always with a text hook, I just try to find a clip of me in the first 3 seconds of that video, and that hook is what I want to be my cover photo. And then from there, I'm just looking for the image where I actually look, not blurry, my eyes are white, and you can see like my actual facial expression and just like the one whatever I look best in. But you'll want it to not just be you, right? If they just see, oh, it's someone talking, they're not going to click on it because they don't know what you're talking about. You want to make sure that the text going along with your face also explains why they'd want to click it, and usually just the hook of your video is exactly what you'd want to use for this. The other thing with the cover is to make sure to set the 1x1 version of the cover too. So you'll see this on the other tab once you are setting the cover, and you want to make sure that it looks good on your actual feed as well as on the 9x16 cover. If you don't get many views on the Explore page, this would be the main reason why. So really take your time on choosing that perfect cover. Number 17 is to make sure you turn on high quality uploads before you post, which is at the very bottom. You click on more options and then go to the very bottom and turn on upload at the highest quality. This setting is off as a default, so be sure to turn this on, and this will really just improve the clarity of your video. Tip number 18 is regarding posting time. You'll want to post before noon in the country that you have the most followers or want the most followers. Now, if you have a lot in America and maybe a lot in Australia, then it's not a bad idea to post in the evening sometimes. I wouldn't have this be an absolute deal breaker. If it's maybe 2 or 3 p.m., it's a good idea, but usually when I post at 7 or 8 p.m. and I have mostly an American following, then the post really has about 12 hours of being highly active to your current followers. And if your current followers don't give it that much engagement, then it really struggles to leave to people outside of your following. So you want to give yourself the most waking hours for your following. So just before noon in the country that you have the most followers is all you need to know about posting time. And then 19, the last and final tip, is one that you probably haven't heard from other channels. Right once you post your reel, drop a comment on that reel from yourself. The reason why is because a lot of times when people don't open up the comment section is because they can see that there are 0 comments. And if they can see that there's a comment, then sometimes they'll just want to open it up and see what that is. Now that obviously naturally improves your watch time and also the likelihood that they would leave a comment. So what you can comment is either a question or you can give like an extra tip. That's what I did on my recent one. I gave a bonus tip, but when people are watching the reel and then they see that a comment section is already started, that makes them way more likely to open up the comment section and just improve all of the metrics that you're looking to improve. So try that out. Drop a comment right after you post from yourself and just expand on the reel a little bit, and that should really help out. That's what I've got for you today. If I delivered, be sure to subscribe, smash that notification bell. You can also find me in the audio version of this podcast on the road at the Social Media Entrepreneurs Podcast. Find me on Instagram at socialbamboo with an underscore at the end if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.